Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now, one of the things that I try to do as I'm living life as a man, going through life, I use these videos to articulate my thoughts and feelings and understanding I'm just one man, but most men will tell you that we're not that much different from man to man. Yeah, we got little quirks and things, but in the grand scheme of things, you black or white, and not race, but either or. It's not that deep. And one of the things that I was realizing as I'm analyzing my life and other men and our society and dealing with the questions from a lot of women is I want to help you understand, to the women especially, but it's also a help men understand themselves and their relation to certain aspects of life, their relationship with themselves and their relationship with their family, their spouse. And I'm noticing this and seeing this a lot of the struggle that men are having and how it trickles down into other areas of life. And one of the things that I found, one of the biggest root of male problems, and this is after childhood and after all the things you go through as a child with childhood trauma, abandonment and abuse and all of those things. This is after all of that. So other men may have, some men may have those things inside that they're struggling with as well. But if you start to look and you pay attention, one of the things you're going to notice is a man's struggle with money. And you'll be surprised at how just a man's relationship with money will dictate and determine his relationship with his wife, with his children, with his health, with his coworkers, with life in general, his family, his mother, his father, his sisters and brothers. A man's relationship with money. And one of the biggest things that a woman can do is look at a man's relationship with money and see how he uses his money, how he makes his money, how he feels about money. And that's going to tell you a lot. Another thing that men could do is to look in the mirror and see the toxic or unhealthy relationship with money. And typically it's one side or the other, and it would be great for us to find a balance, for us to strike a balance. I was talking to a guy today who I asked him a question and I said, how does it feel after being a millionaire for 5+ years? A liquid millionaire, not a paper millionaire. A paper millionaire is when you own something, but you don't have the money in your bank. It's not liquid. Or you worth something, like you see net worth online. Typically, whatever a person's net worth is, they don't have that in accessible cash. They will have to liquidate their company or their things to have that money. Sometimes people don't understand that. So I asked him that and he said, to be honest with you, bro, I don't really think much about it. And I wrote him back and I realized something in that moment. He don't really think much about it because the money's so high and it's steady coming in because he's on a contract. And I said to him, I say, I eat what I kill. So I still go broke and get rich every month. So I feel the highs and the lows. So I don't know what it's like to just be comfortable because I don't have a contract. I don't have a job. So I don't have something to where I'm going to get the same amount of money on the 1st and the 15th or every Friday or every other Friday. I eat what I hunt for. I got to get out and do the work. If that's writing a book, if that's making a course, if that's shooting a video, if that's ghostwriting for somebody else, if that's doing a coaching call, a business coaching or speaking engagement, putting an audio, a podcast, whatever it is, I have to go to work. And if I stop working, I'm going to stop eating. Now, like in a contract, they got a certain amount of money that they're going to be paid for X amount of years. Then they're going to have to go to work. So John Wall didn't play last year. He ain't like the team or whatever. Next year he may or may not play, but his money is guaranteed. He getting paid $47 million. And he just opted in to get his $47 million, probably because no other team was really reaching or checking for him like that. So he need to go ahead and get that guaranteed payday and give him some time to get some interest from other teams who may pick up his contract. That's totally different. So the way a man behaves when he has a guaranteed check coming in is different than the way a man behaves when he got to go hunt in order to eat. And how a man is when his money is up is different than how a man is when his money is down. And how a man's relationship with his money can determine his relationship with drugs, with alcohol, with outside other women, it could determine his vices, his relationship with money. How a man handles pressure can determine whether he intensifies his focus in tough times or whether he breaks, he folds, he starts to lose himself. And so you will see some men in tough times, they lose their job or they own their company and they're not getting booked, they're not getting clients or gigs or what have you, may turn to the bottle and start drinking, may start smoking weed more or smoking weed, may go to pills or powder, or may just become very toxic, just very emotionally, verbally, or physically abusive because of money defining who he is. And also the way we see money, the way we interact with money as men, and this is important, and women go through the same things, and women need to do the same work, but I'm speaking as a male, I'm speaking as a man, but then also as the head of a household, as a husband, as a father. I'm speaking from that space too, because my relationship with money determines the financial health of my household. So it determines if I'm going to have the money to pay for our son's college, if I'm going to have the money in savings if hard times come, if we go through a recession in the country. And so when you think about this, it's like certain companies, they depend on the consumers. And so if there are no consumers or there are much less consumers, then they have to lay off their workers. So if a man could get laid off, the same thing happens with me. Now, if I'm on YouTube and YouTube is putting advertisements on the video, well, if less companies stop spending advertising money because their revenue is down, so they have to cut their advertising budget in half, then that means less money will be being paid to Google to run ads. So that is spread out across the channels that get those ads. So if there's 100 ads to go across, but then that gets cut to 50 ads, if everybody was making $10, now everybody making $5 because that 100 got cut to 50. So now, even though it doesn't cost you any money to view this, if there's less money being spent on advertisement, that means there's less less advertisements on the video, and that means there's less money being paid to the video creators. So it's a trickle down effect. So even as an entrepreneur, you could be affected in down times. And so most men have an adverse reaction when money is funny. And that's why it's very important for women to know and realize and understand this if you plan to get married, so that you can find out what is it that your man needs that is supplemental to his money. So if my money is low as a man and my spouse is continuing to spend at the same rate, so if money is at 100 and you spend at 100 and then money goes to 50, but you still try to spend at 100, now that's going to induce stress. And so a woman will have to realize, oh, money is low, so let me spend differently. So instead of, buying this or that, let me do without that, because we may need this money at a later time. Y'all gotta forgive me, I'm trying to get into my desktop that I never use. Thing won't even connect to the internet. And so I was showing my son today, before I got on here, I was giving him a lesson on money and time. And he was asking me, can he have more time, or can I take off the restrictions of his social media? Because when he was just going on there on his own time and not having to count the time, he didn't feel like he abused it. And I said, well, son, that's relative and that's also subjective, because I felt like you was abusing it. So now you get 30 minutes on this network, 30 minutes on network, for a total of an hour a day. I'm going to check your phone when you turn your phone in to me at 9 p.m. If you went over that hour, then you don't get your phone the next day. And that just is what it is, because if you're not going to budget your time yourself as your father, and you being a minor, my son under my roof, I have to do it for you, because it's my job to train you up in the way that you need to go. And I can't care how you feel about that. And so I gave him that talk, and I showed him what Tony Gasson's Academy has earned. And I showed him the amount of courses I have created and how many hours it took me to create those courses. And I took the total earning and I divided by the amount of hours it took me to create that. And I showed him what TonyGassonsAcademy.com pays me per hour to help him understand time and money. And that when I give an hour away, what I'm potentially giving up based on the earning potential of my asset. And I did the same for the YouTube channel. And I showed him how, and then what I did to relate to him is I pulled up the top highest paid Major League Soccer players. The top player is the number one player. Then we counted up how many games, how many practices, so how many hours, we guesstimated how many hours that pro soccer player gives per week to his soccer. And we divided his salary by the amount of hours. And what he makes per hour, based on the time they give, I earn more than him by hour. I just don't work as many hours as he does. So I told my son, if I increase my hours to his amount of hours, I could potentially earn what he's earning or more, because I'm earning more per hour than he's earning based on what he pays, based on what he makes, but he makes way more money than me, but he has to work way more hours than me. And so we're doing this talk, and because he's going to have to be the head of a household one day, the husband, the father, and as men, and this is the thing that it's what we're supposed to do. So how much thanks and gratitude do you give someone for doing what they're supposed to do? And I used to say that all the time, but now being in a position where there's a lot of people who have their hand out, or they will take from me or ask from me, but not give the equivalent gratitude. I now understand that you do need gratitude, or you do want gratitude for doing what you're supposed to do, or what people expect of you to do, because without it you feel used. And that hit me, and I'm like, most men don't get praise for providing for their family, especially if they're the sole provider. And most men, or even if they one of two incomes, but they make more, and so they taking care of more. It's like, hey, you're a man, that's what you're supposed to do. But it's like, no, he actually could go sell drugs. He actually could go rob stores. He actually could sit on his butt and do nothing. So although that's what he's supposed to do, he doesn't have to do that. He's sacrificing and he's doing, but he doesn't have to do that. But one thing I notice with men is that there's no real thanks from the children, because they don't understand what he's doing. There's no real thanks from the wife, because she said, that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. And so that creates a resentment from this individual who is defined by his money and his earning potential. So if a man is defined by his money, and I saw a funny meme, and but this is exactly, the meme was it was a meme, and it was cut in half, and it had the man in the McDonald's hat and shirt, and it said broke A, the A word, broke A. And it had the woman in the McDonald's hat and shirt, and it said strong and independent. And I thought about that, and I'm like, wow, I did the same thing. When I see a young lady working the drive-through, I give her more credit of being strong and independent, because we have made women out to be, in our mind, docile and weak and to be taken care of. And I don't give that young man who's at the drive-thru at McDonald's the same credit for being strong and independent, because he could be at home playing video games, or he could be selling drugs, or he could be doing whatever. So I need to be praising him for coming to work at McDonald's, which may not be the funnest or the best place to work at it. I mean, I know if I'm smelling fry grease all for 8 hours, I might start to get sick to my stomach. And I'm dealing with nasty people in the drive-thru, and they cussing me out, and they throwing the food back in there, and they telling me I need to get an education, and am I dumb? Am I stupid? How you messing up an order? And I'm dealing with these people, and it might not even be my fault. And so I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? That's true how we see that. And then they had a picture of Morris Chestnut and Faison Love. Lord forgive me. And it had what they wrote, and it say good morning, hello, beautiful, or something like that. And on the Morris Chestnut, it say flirting. Under Faison Love, it say harassment. That thing was funny. Y'all forgive me. That thing was funny though. But I say that's true. And so here's the thing. As a man who has this relationship with money, if the man make 30,000, he looked down upon. But he got other options. He could be doing something illegal that's gonna take him away from his wife and kids. But he looked down upon by society, maybe not by you, because if you on this channel, you got some sense. Because I'm not on here doing, crazy stuff. We talking about life, and we going through real life lessons on this here channel. So if you on here, you got your head on straight. So it might not even be you all the way, unless you're being influenced by society. It may be your sister, your brother, cousin, or whoever that you need to share this video with. So this how this man feels. And I think it was from a rap song that I heard a man equate his net worth to his self-worth. that as much as a man is worth, that's how he feels. And guess what? I have found that to be true. I found that to be true. And so what my goal became, what my task and my challenge for myself became as a man is to, I got to coach a client here in a little bit. So I keep looking at the time. Y'all forgive me. So what my goal has become is to make sure that when my financial landscape changes, meaning when I got more money going out for bills and needs or business, and that creates a tighter budget, to not let my energy change, to smile and laugh and be just as happy when the budget is tight as when it's overflowing, and to have that emotional intelligence and to not allow my emotions to change based on my bank balance, and to not allow my sons and my wife to see my energy shift based on my bank balance, but to understand that the amount of money I have and the amount of money I'm earning does not define me as a man. Because there are a lot of men who are not good people who can earn a lot of money. And there's a lot of men who are amazing people who do not earn a lot of money. And that's why I always talk about allowing a man's character to be his currency. And now I made that up. So when you hear somebody else say that, just let them know, hey, you on copyright material. You sending a check over there? The Tony Athens? And shout out to my guy, Inky Johnson. Because Inky is a big time speaker. And one of my mentees from basketball team I work with, college team, was listening to his podcast, and he screenshotted, he sent it to me. He said, hey man, Inky quoted you on this podcast episode, and I wanted to tap in to see how you doing. And I was like, wow, that's big of him, because some of our other constituents have seen my quotes and stole it and use it like it's their own. And I'm like, whoa, wow, you taking food out my mouth. That's intellectual property. And so shout out to Inky, just being a stand-up guy. And I really appreciated that. And I will say, right now, he the best speaker in the country. Right now, he's the best speaker in the country because he brings his heart and energy with it. He the best in the country. But he don't do love and relationships and all this, so y'all probably, not everybody will know. And if you follow him on Instagram, send him this here video, and so he know I return the favor. Give credit where credit is due. But a lot of men equate, and I'm still doing the study, and I got to upload the episodes for the podcast, and we interviewing somebody this week, actually. Oh, Lord. Is it tomorrow? It's tomorrow. Oh, Lord. I need to check in with my videographer, make sure we still on now. And we still doing the study. I'm not rushing it. That's a life lesson. I'm not rushing it. And I'm compiling the interviews and getting them right. And then I'm going to release them like that. And it's taking me a lot of money. It's costing me $2,500 to $5,000 per episode. So I don't know if I'll do it forever or if it'll just be a collection of some great stories and it becomes like a vault. So y'all understand that now. Well, listen, because you got to travel and you got to pay people. So I'm going to these people's state. And so it costs them. And then you paying videographers, and sometimes stuff happens. The sound ain't right. The lighting ain't right. Video ain't right. So now you don't realize it till they get back home and go to upload it and realize the sound cut out and they didn't catch it. So now that's $5,000 down the drain. So y'all understand that Patreon supporters, Blessed Tribe, Blessed Business Tribe, this is what you helping me do, and I appreciate you for that. So that was a sidebar. But listen, this is what I'm seeing with how men are portrayed. And so what happens is it creates this thing to where, because nobody cares about, and when I say nobody, I mean society at large, cares about a man's feelings or cares about a man's earning potential or defines a man by his earning potential, it creates resentment. So a lot of the womanizers you see It's from resentment of being treated like a peon because he doesn't have a real bank balance that is substantial. And then a lot of men also who could be trash, it's because their bank balance got extremely high and they thought that made them somebody. And so they started to treat other people poorly. And I've seen women do this as well, come into some money and then start talking to people like trash. Because as humans, we tend to allow our money to define us. And we become very cocky and arrogant when we got a couple grand. And we start to talk to people like they're nothing. So think about how you talk to that customer service rep when you on the phone because you feel like your job is better than theirs or you're higher than them. How do you talk to, I see it even with TonyGastinsAcademy.com, where we got a class this Saturday that you need to sign up for if you're not in the class yet, especially if you done made it this far. It's called a mid-year checkup. So go to TonyGastinsAcademy.com and join the virtual seminar this Saturday. But we have a support email address, and there are countless people who write in because they're writing into support and they assume that they're talking to an assistant. So they write in talking down to the assistant like the assistant is beneath them and like the assistant is trash. And this is people who follow me, who support me because they're buying my courses and still have bad character. And write in talking to the support email like the support is trash. Yelling at the support in the email, going off in the email. Not realizing that I'm reading every single email, that they really talking to me, not the support, because I'm reading every email and I'm responding most of the time. I'm responding. And the people don't even realize that because it have another name in the signature. And sometimes I respond and return the energy. And if they rude, I respond rudely and make them feel and look stupid. And they will write back appalled because they expect us, a customer service, to put up with their toxicity and let them talk down to them, but the customer service got to kiss they behind. And what they really don't realize is they be talking to me. And so that energy coming back be, listen, I'm where you at. Don't talk down to me. You could talk to me. You could talk with me. Don't talk down to me. But they think they talking to a support staff. But I'm hands-on in my brain. And so I see that because of humans, how we are based on the money we think we worth or that we have. And so what I have to be conscious about, and what I got to work on myself with, is I got to be conscious and say, Tony, go into the room and not be defined by material things, not be defined by a bank balance, not be defined by a net worth, and let people, if they're gonna feel like you're less than because you're country or because you're a male or because you're black or because you're from the South, let them do that, let them feel that, and then they're gonna find out what you bring to the table and what your real worth is based on your character, not based on your bank balance, but based on your character. And I had to do that work because when I was flat broke, I used to go off. You talking to a millionaire? I go off on them people in the store or customer service, and ain't bit more have no money than the man on the moon. But I go off and rip that customer service a new one. I was that person. So I had to learn from that when I started to experience those people. from the outside looking in, like, whoa, this what it looked like? Oh no, I don't want to look like that. Oh no, that look trashy. Oh, you look like a horrible person. You sound like a horrible person. No, I don't want to be that person. So I had to start working on that. And I did a voice memo today, sending it to one of the staff members at the Players Association with the NBA. Because for 6 years straight, until I got hired exclusively by an NBA team to work with their team, I spoke to the 60 NBA rookies every year on embracing manhood. And one of the mistakes I made was lying about how much money I made or how much I was worth or how much I had because of an insecurity, feeling like these guys finna be millionaires and they gonna look down on me because I ain't got the money that they got. But I was 26 years old when I got the job. So I was positioned, but I was not prepared. And I did not understand that I was a victim of the system, of the mentality that is passed down, and not victim in the sense of, victim, but I was a recipient of the mentality that your money defines you as a man. That was passed down to me from our culture, our country, everything around us defines a man by his money. And so there's so much, big hat and no cattle, the text is saying. And all these different talks about basically how much you worth. And you see these things of online where they show Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, and they have their outfit on, and they'll post like $250 billion in this picture and not one Gucci belt in sight. So now what that does is that says, if you wear a Gucci belt, you fake and you worthless. You ain't worth nothing. But really, Gucci is fashion. So if you into fashion, you're gonna be into their clothes or some other fashion house. And it doesn't make you less of a man because you wear a Gucci belt. Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates clearly are not into fashion. That does not mean they spend their money any better. Because if they made so much money, they wouldn't have to be bombarding us with fees and advertisements on their software or on their systems. And that's how they make that money. And so when you go buy Microsoft Word, it's going to cost you. Most people don't have Microsoft Word and typing up on the notepad using Pages if they got a MacBook. A lot of people don't want to pay that $99 a year for Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office or whatever come with it. That's how Bill Gates eating. That's software. Mark Zuckerberg, when you look at Facebook, one of the most corrupt networks in the world, if not the most, and don't like no competition. That's why they bought Instagram. But they prying on you, they following you around online, they stealing your information, selling your information, giving you all these apps. That's ruthless. That's a ruthless way to make money. But see, men are defined by their money. So then it determines how somebody treat people. So Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates both went through a divorce. So what was their money and their pursuit of wealth doing within them that made them not be able to sustain a marriage? Because if they both were, excuse the term, nerds. That's I don't mean in a derogatory sense. It's kind of like, that's an N word, but it's similar to the other N word, because you could call somebody a nerd and be derogatory, And then they call themselves nerds. Yeah, I'm a computer nerd. Or yeah, I'm just a coding nerd. Or yeah, I'm just a kind of nerd. And I always thought it was like a derogatory term. But they use the word. And so that's why I say it's kind of like the N word. Because because I don't use the N word. The word for black people that they made, I don't use the word. But black people be calling each other the N word and then be ready to fight when somebody else calling the N word. So nerd could be the same. So y'all forgive me if that's offensive. So let's say both of these guys are extremely smart. Both of these guys are extremely smart. My call coming up. That's why I keep looking over here. Forgive me, I'm watching the time. These guys are extremely smart. And both of them going through a divorce. Now, their wives chose them just as smart as they are, just as smart as they were back then. But something happened between back then and now. And not to say it's the men's fault. It could have been the woman's fault. We don't know the inner workings because they got too much money. They ain't finna let us tabloids all in their business. But I'm of the mindset that 99% of women want financial security, whether she getting it herself or whether her husband is providing it if she's going to be at home with the kids full time. So for a woman to leave financial security, I'm of the mindset that something else got to be going on. You see? So how did the money affect them on their climb, on their rise, that it caused the marriage to fall apart? Now, men don't protect women. So if the woman cheated, I'm pretty sure that'll be out. If the woman was embezzling funds, I'm pretty sure that'll be out. Now, when the man cheat, or when the man beat, it's a lot of women who will protect the man because of our image. I ain't always been the guy you see today, but my wife has protected me because of what God called me to do. So my low moments, my down times, my wife seen some stuff. She seen some stuff in the streets. Me doing stuff. She seen some stuff. But she protect me because of what God ushered me into. She ain't go to no tabloid. Oh, he used to do this. Oh, he did this. Oh, he did that. So I've seen countless times women protect men. Now, just like you just seen that rapper come out with his song. And in the song, talk about his wife cheated on him or did something on there. But it's like, we all know he wasn't perfect that whole relationship. So as soon as a woman do something, man, we finna talk about it. And so what did these men who are billionaires do to their wife for that marriage to fall apart? Some had to go down. We just speculating though. We just speculating. We can't really say. But see, this is how money affects a man. And so men need to watch this video. If you dating somebody, he need to watch this video. And men have to become aware to how we allow money to affect us. How we allow the high times and the low times to affect us. How do we treat people when our money is up? And how do we treat people when our money is down? And whether you a slime ball, a sleaze ball, or whatever kind of ball, you need to be the same when your money up and when your money down. And if you need to work on your character and your personality, then you need to do that. And what women have to do is pay close attention to this man's relationship with money, the high times and the low times. If he have a low time, you got a man who making money, you might not see a low time, but how does he treat the waiter? And I'm gonna tell you what I do, and this just something I do, and this is me working on me, because I'm working on my relationship with money. I tip 30%. I've seen receipts that show you the amount, because they know everybody ain't good at math and everybody ain't got no calculator. or don't know they got a calculator on their phone. And so I've seen receipts show you up to 25%. I'm like, okay, now y'all getting out of hand now. Don't be asking me for 25%. Now, you need to show me 10%, 15%, 20% at the most. Don't show me no 22%, 25%, because now you're getting greedy. And so, but I tip 30%. And the reason why I tip 30% is because I realize if my bill is $100 and the standard tip is $20, 20%, if I go above and beyond, if I get 30%, that's $30. That's a $10 difference. And I ask myself, if this person is waiting tables, or if this person in the restaurant business and they could be shut down if a virus break out, is this $10 going to help them more than it's going to hurt me? It's going to help them more. Because if they're in a position to where they are waiting tables, that's not necessarily a dream job. And that's typically something people do when they absolutely need the money. It's not really, people typically don't wait tables because they just love waiting tables. They're waiting tables because of a necessity. So that $10 to them, and I think, okay, if they serve 10 people, and if everybody do like what I do, and if everybody give at least $10, that's $100. That's good money. That's more than I used to make working in the group home as a counselor in the group home. So I'm like, that's $100 and could be $300. That's good money. If you do this 5 days a week, that's $1,500 a week. You're doing good. I used to make $1,200 a month as a grown man, have to take care of my family. And so I did that to stretch. When I'm doing carry out, I still tip 10 to 20%, even though I'm doing carry out. I bought a smoothie today. It was $16 for my order. I tipped $1.60. And because that's carry out. And so I say that to say, and I taught my wife that, because she's not gonna just do that on her own, because we a couple. She know that I'm busting my butt trying to work and create, and she's a full-time mom right now, and she got a couple things that could be some stream of income, but it's not at this stage gonna earn what my streams of income will earn. So what's mine is hers, what's hers is mine. We won. Our money go into a joint account, and then we get our own little separate spending money when we need to buy gifts and do whatever. But y'all for giving up my son come back in the house. I made him go outside and do a workout. I told him, I said, son, I can't want it for you, but you say this what you want. But if you ain't gonna do it on your own, I got to have you do it and to get better, because I don't want to see you sitting and crying when you don't reach your goals because you didn't know that you wasn't putting in enough work to get to where you say you trying to go. But I know what it's gonna take to get to where you trying to go, because I fell short of becoming a pro athlete, and I work with pro athletes, and I know the work that got to go in if that's what you want. And right now you ain't doing that because you living in the lap of luxury. And so again, a relationship with money. It's the man said on the quote, I don't know his name, he was giving a speech, and he was saying about what his granddaddy told him, and basically the quote was saying, tough times make tough men, but tough men create easy times, and easy times create weak men, and weak men create tough times. So because I had to get it out the mud to take care of my family, my work ethic was so intensified that I became who I am today. And I earned a good amount of money. But because of that, my sons get to go to private school. They get to ride in expensive vehicles. They get to be picked up in expensive vehicles, sometimes picked up by a driver. They get to fly on a private jet sometimes. They get to go on nice vacations and even have their family pay for the vacation of other families so that they have kids to play with, because none of the people from my circle can afford a vacation from my family. So, or from some of the other families that we know. And so my sons have that, to be able to play a video game and buy the tokens and the skins and the new characters on the game because of the money that their parents have. I ain't had that luxury. So that luxury could put my sons in a place of comfort and ease to where it's still their work ethic. And what I had to go through to get here, they don't understand that. Because they don't know what it's like to not have lights on, to not have water on, to go flip that water and that water ain't on because you ain't pay the bill. And you can't pay the bill right then. They don't know what it's like. They go to Wachovia Bank with $0 and stick that debit card in there and withdraw $400 and send your account into the negative. And got to wait on a paycheck to come in to get you out the negative, but your paycheck is $680, so you just paying the $400, but the $400, so now you got $280, but you got rent coming up, that's $830. And the reason why you had to pay the $400 is because you had to go get a hotel for 3 nights because you couldn't afford the $500 to pay the light bill and the lights got cut off. So you got a little baby and now you got to go to the hotel. See, they don't know what that's like to be the head of that household and to have to make ends meet. Stretch a dime into a dollar. Get paid, pay your bills, and got $25 to last you over 2 weeks. So you got to go to Wendy's to the dollar menu and get 2 99-cent chicken sandwiches every day. And that's $2.14 a day. So the 14 days, that's $28. You only got 25. They don't know what that's like. Me and my wife had to live that. So when you see me now happy, you see me now in something exclusive, you see me not get on a private jet, understand what I come from, understand where I had to work, how hard I had to work to be able to do what I could do today. When you see me producing books and courses and videos and ghostwriting and all of this and here, understand that I'm working in my gifts to take care of my family. But it's a lot of pressure that come with it. And see, a lot of people don't understand. It's like when you come from nothing, this a whole nother dynamic because it's men with money. I know who billionaires, who in the billionaire families, in multi-millionaire families, and it's men I know personally who are multi-millionaires or a billionaire or now about to be a billionaire, and they still have identity issues because of their relationship with money. Because it's such a thing as a man feeling unrightfully privileged because he was born into money or he has so much money or because he was afforded the opportunity to go to private school and take robotics class, to take coding class, because he was put in these programs after school that cost a lot of money, and he learned how to code at the age of 8. So by the age of 21, he's a billionaire because he's created a artificial intelligence software that is worth $1 billion. Now, I don't know if that's the case because I read about the young man today who 21 or 20 or something like that. He got this software that Uber is using and different companies using this artificial intelligence software, Chinese immigrant parents. But typically when a Chinese in America, they ain't over here struggling. Typically the Chinese come to America for the American dream and they finna build. And they about to go get it. And even if they is struggling from the start, they ain't gonna stay that way because they coming with a dream, a vision, and a plan. But people who born here, we lack a dream, a vision, and a plan because we were born into it. But when you coming over here, when this my nightmare, my life gonna look different than when it's your dream. If you come over here and this your dream, and I'm born here and this my nightmare, of course our work ethic gonna be different. But people don't think about that. Dreams and nightmares. Shout out to Meek Mill. And when we look at it, there's the relationship with money. And this honestly is what is dictating the way men moving today. The importance that we put on money. When you look at, and men just doing what they know how to do. It's just doing what they know. They doing it from the abundance of the heart. The mouth speaks. So when you see all these podcasts so many of them are about entrepreneurship. So many of them are about making money. And that's just because that's what's on a man's mind, is building business and making money, because that has been the measuring stick of a man. And that's where we failing at. And I told my son today, and I showed him, I say, this system right here, this asset right here, based on the amount of hours I've worked, the amount of hours and what it has earned, this is what I earn per hour. I say, I'm sitting and talking with you for an hour or two. So that means that is that amount of money that I just gave up, but you mean more to me than money. You mean more to me than anything in the world. So I'm going to give that up. I say the difference between me and most other men is most other men, they focus so much on their money. They only care about their money that they will miss birthdays. They will miss this and that. They will miss graduation. They will miss this to go do a speaking engagement, to work on their business, to work on something. And I'm like, I won't do that. I say, so I'm giving you this time because this is a lesson you need. And then after this, I got to sit and work with somebody else for an hour. And I'm doing that to be accessible, to be reachable, to be humble, and I'm charging $450. So I can't even equate it to Jesus, because you could touch Jesus for free when he walked the earth. But today, as coaches, we charging to be touched. But now listen, what I'm on the phone for, $450, is not 10% of what my hourly earning could be. It's not 50%. So when I'm on the phone with one of y'all, I'm also giving up money. And then after I coach, I'm hopping in the car and we going to the baseball game, which is going to be 3 hours. That's 3 more hours I could have worked, but I'm going to be watching other men live their dream. And now I got to hang up because I got to coach in a minute. And my wife called me for the second time. She never called me 2 times. God bless y'all. We'll talk soon. Hey, sign up for the thing Saturday morning. Mid-year checkup on TonyGassonAcademy.com. God bless you.